that that's what they want, but then they don't carry it through in their corporate actions. But you wrote a book. Your book is called The Courageous Life: How to Leap from Your Career to Your Calling.
Yes.
How do you think people find their calling?
How do they find it? One, first of all, they have to listen. There are so many things, and you asked me, well, how did I know? How did I get started in business? One, I listened to the little inkling, the little still small voice that I've heard since I was literally in the 12th grade of a desire that I had that says, you know what, you should follow this. I mean, I had every reason not to. Who wants to leave an amazing corporate salary where the income is consistent and you're able to, just live a great life without having to put anything at risk or know where your next meal is coming from? But for me, it was just, I knew what I was meant to do. And so the whole book is in reference to when you're trying to find your calling, it really is leaning in and listening. Have you ever had a desire to say, that would be a great idea? Or have you ever had a solution to a problem that says, you know what, if we only had this, or if it happened, if we could start this, then it would just solve that particular issue. But a lot of times what we'll do is we'll sit back and we'll leave it up to someone else to follow through with and launch and do, versus believing in ourselves enough that we can make it happen. When you look at people that we follow, whether they're a celebrity, whether they're a business owner, they're actually no different than you and I. It's more so that they just had the confidence enough, and not even that they didn't have fear, but they had the confidence enough to move forward in launching the business of their dreams. And so the biggest thing I encourage people to do is listen, lean in, and take the time to figure out that inkling, that desire. It may not seem, you may not necessarily know the how just yet, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible. A lot of times we'll hear something or we'll have a feeling of, oh, I would love to do that. But it seems and sounds so crazy that you're like, who would leave this amazing corporate career to go off and, become a celebrity makeup artist, or become, open up a bed and breakfast? Like, who does that, right? But there are people that are doing it right now. So why couldn't it be the people that have that desire? So
Well, you
definitely
say
leaning in and
that,
listening.
but you say there are four key things that every person has to do when leaping from their career to their calling. So leaning in is one,
Hmm.
listening is another. What are some of the others?
Yeah, definitely. I also tapping into your network. In that first chapter of the book, Gail, there are about 10 amazing questions, coaching questions that I ask people that are trying to really understand what's my purpose, what's my calling. One of the things is that I ask is, what do people compliment you on that just comes intuitively to you? So many times the things that we're great at and the things that we are gifted at, we almost don't recognize it because it's so natural. For you and I to hit a stage, while we have had training and we've gone to, speakers conferences and everything else, a lot of times for most speakers, there's some sort of innate natural gift, whereas the rest of the world is running away from the stage. They'd rather, you know, go climb the Empire State Building or something than to get on stage in front of people. But that's because it's an innate thing for us. So what are the things that you're naturally gifted at is one question. Another question is, and we've heard this before. If money were not an issue, what would you literally spend your time doing? That would generate income if it were not an issue. For me, I knew I was meant to do this when I would get off of work and I would run to my laptop and I would start researching. I could literally stay up all night and I would, I tell people all the time, if I didn't want to be able to generate wealth to be able to leave for others and, give away to other people, I would coach and speak for free. And at some point in my business, I am going to do that, because that's how much I love it and it's a gift. So, what are the things that, people say, oh, that's just a hobby, or oh, I wouldn't want to do it for money, or oh, whatever. But it really is something that you would do around the clock because you love it that much. Oftentimes, we're so trained to be inside this box, to do the right things, that we've climbed the ladder that we found ourselves at the top of that we don't even want to be at anyway. And most people are too scared to either change ladders or climb down that ladder and go up another one.
Well, that is true. I think that, security is an important thing. And when you have that paycheck coming every week, it's kind of hard to leave it when you've got a family to support and so forth. But, I think that when you talk about things like you say, courage is a repetitive action.
Oh
What
my gosh,
do you mean
yes.
by that?
Yes. So the day that I decided to leave my corporate career and launch my business, I felt like that was the most courageous day of my life, because here I am leaving this six-figure career, saying I'm going to risk this to go try to build, a multiple six-figure, multiple seven-figure business. But in order to leave a six-figure career, you almost have to go down to zero for a hot second until you climb back up. And it was the craziest thing. And so for, I don't know, the first few days, few weeks of my business, there was almost like this pat on the back that was just like, yes, we finally did it. We finally, started moving in spite of fear. Well, then I realized, you know what? Now you still have to find the courage to pick up the phone every day. You have to find the courage to send the email. You have to find the courage to not only ask for the sale and ask for the contract, but ask for your value when it comes to the sale and the contract. And I just remember this feeling that, wow, that particular day that I left my job was just one moment in time. And that courage is truly a repetitive action, day after day after day after day. And that even though we get to certain milestone moments in our career, I'm pretty sure you've had some in 2016, and in your, 5 decades of just being in business, you've had some pretty great moments. But then there are some times where, even as you look ahead, that you have to get out of your comfort zone and get to that place of, being on the border and on the edge of saying, you know what, I have to yet push myself again and find the courage again to show up even greater than I did yesterday. So it was literally within that first 30 days of business that I had to get off my soapbox and get off my, proud moment of leaping from my career to my own calling, and pick up the phone and finding the courage to make that next call.
Yeah, because when you're with a corporation, they're calling you. And when you're in your own business, you're calling them. So it is a big difference. Well, Melissa, let me know and let our listeners know, how can they get in touch with you and how can they find out more about you?
Yes, I am online everywhere in social media, from LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You can just look up Melissa J. Nixon, at Melissa J. Nixon, on all of those platforms. Our website is courageouslifeacademy.com. And of course, you can find my new book, The Courageous Life, How to Leap from Your Career to Your Calling, on Amazon.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds to me, folks, that Melissa has a tremendous amount of information to share with you, because she's been in the corporate world. She was making a fabulous salary. She decided to go out on her own. She's successful as a speaker and a leadership coach and a trainer. So she's got a lot of information to share with you. And I think that you would really benefit by getting her book. Remember what the name is again. The book is exactly called The Courageous Life. I love that. The Courageous Life, How to Leap from Your Career to Your Calling. So go on Amazon, take a look at it, go to her website. And it's just, I think, a fantastic thing that you've done. And I think it's great that you are part of this movement for women in business. I just think it's an important segment. So your website is Courageous Life Academy.
Yep. .com.
It's perfect. So again, I know people have benefited from listening to you today, Melissa, and I just think what you've done is fabulous. I mean, it's hard to take that first step, but you did it. And folks, it's out there for you. The opportunity is out there for you. And even if you do decide to stay in your corporate career, there's a lot of courageous steps that you could take, because, it's not easy in corporate life either. And that can be over like if they decide, oh, today you're here and tomorrow you're not, you still have to be able to step and land on your feet. So The Courageous Life, wonderful. Go to Amazon and buy it. Thanks so much for being with us today, Melissa. It has been wonderful. And hopefully our listeners will take advantage of your book and get to see you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Bye, everyone.